Hello and welcome to the Bookster Vacation Rental Meetup. My name is Kelly O'Dore and I am the Marketing Director of Bookster, which is a property management software company based here in Scotland. And each month we run these events and we invite special guest speakers along to share their ideas and their experiences. And today I'm talking with Erin and Nick Lyon, who are the founders of Igloo. So first of all, hi guys.
Hi, thanks for inviting us to join you today. I'm Erin, I've just been introduced, and this is
Nick, and we're the directors of Igloo.
Erin and Nick are making waves with their fresh approach. You'll see they've been in the press. I've asked them to come along today to talk through their advice for other property managers who are just starting out. We are going through a process where I can see there are a lot of new property managers entering the market. It is an exciting place to be, but there is a kind of gap of knowledge for people who are just starting. So I've asked Erin and Nick to come and help us with that. We'll be holding 3 sessions. This is a little bit different to normal. We're going to cover getting the business started, starting up a website and kind of running a website, and then Nick and Erin's top recommendation. So first, Erin and Nick, would you like to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Sure. I've had quite a varied background in the tourist industry because I've always lived in Aviemore. So I was born and brought up in this area, so I kind of know it quite intimately, and I've had varied roles in tourism over the years. So through housekeeping to managing bookings, and had sort of different retail experience. But I'm also, and I draw from this quite a lot with it being a family business, I'm also a mum to 5 children, which does mean that I do manage to do a lot of things. So in this industry, you do have to be a master at quite a few different things, to make it all work. So my biggest strength is probably, giving personal touches and knowing what people want.
Excellent, lovely. Yes, 5 children keeps you busy.
Oh yeah, it sure does.
I don't know how you do it. So I'm Nick, and I came to Igloo through quite a varied career. I've run a craft beer shop. I've worked for an MP, though my actual background is digital media. So I'm absolutely passionate about the digital side of Igloo, and I've really enjoyed kind of getting to grips with all the different technology that we use. Outside of work, I love to travel, and I've seen the absolute best of the industry, both here at home and obviously across Europe and the States as well. So I like to think I can take some travel experience from being a traveller into the business.
Well, today we're going to cover how you got started. Could you tell me your ideas that you had and the kind of steps that you took to get yourself into the business?
Yeah, so we decided in 2020 we were going to take the leap and set up our own business, as we knew that we could do it better than what was out there currently. And we want to have a fresh approach both for our guests staying with us and the property owners. And obviously last year the pandemic delayed things a wee bit, and our launch was pushed back. But we think that the ethos we've got of putting the customer first is hugely important, and that's going to set us on the right track for reopening.
Yeah, Nick and I have worked together on a lot of things over the years, on a sort of voluntary basis. So we kind of know each other's skill sets, so we knew that we would be able to work together quite well. And I think a lot of small self-catering agencies, they're born from having a self-catering property already, which we don't have. We don't own any of our properties. So it was a little bit nerve-wracking, I have to say, getting those first couple of contracts in, is this going to work? And it was just a relief. But now that we are quite established, it's just snowballing. So, we've got some really good properties lined up in the future that will be coming to us quite soon. So yeah, we're just absolutely delighted with the way things are going.
And it all started sketching on a flip chart and a dining table. So it's amazing to look back on that to see how far we've come already.
It's been a roller coaster of a year, certainly. that's for sure. Did you recruit anyone to help you with the tasks of getting set up, or was it just the 2 of you kind of pulling yourselves together?
It was just the 2 of us. Because we both worked in the industry, we had a good idea of what it was that we would require. So I suppose we did recruit Bookster to do our website. So we had to do a lot of research to find out if Bookster would be the right, the right software for us to use. And once we'd made that decision, we thought, well, great, we'll get these guys to do our website so that it's fully optimized for the guest journey. I also spent my maternity leave because I just had a baby last year, and he was born about a week before no, actually, he was born after the business launch. Sorry. So I spent that time upskilling and doing a lot of research. And that was a good time because I didn't feel like I was under too much pressure to get things done, and a lot of it just got ripped up and done again. So I made a lot of mistakes in those early days that I corrected before we actually went live. I think one of the biggest ones was contracts, and I had contracts all sent out. And then, I took some guidance from CMA and just thought, I'm going to do this again, actually. This is completely unfair for the guests. Just sort of drawing from the experiences that people had in 2020. So, yeah, that's where we kind of went with that.
Yeah. And the other thing...
Sorry to interrupt. What's CMA?
Oh, the Competitions and Markets Authority.
Right. Okay. Lovely. So did you proactively contact them and ask them to have a look at what you've done?
No, the information's on their website, so it's really, really easy. And one of the things that they do ask you to make clear for your guests and your contracts is that they're understandable and people aren't confused by them. So hence why I looked at what I had done and thought, this is just too confusing, and I started again. So that it was really, really simple for people to understand.
Okay, do you have a link for the website that I could post up with this?
Yeah, sure, I can send that over to you.
Fantastic, lovely, that'd be great. Sorry, Nick, I interrupted you there.
Yeah, I jumped ahead of myself there, but the other thing, as well as the contracts, is from previous experience, we've seen sort of quite outdated systems and ways of working, so we were really keen when we were setting up our own processes to embrace technology as much as possible, and I think we've been quite kind of proactive in doing that since we launched.
And Nick's definitely better at that than I
am. That's good, you work as a team.
Yeah, he's the leader on that one.
So thinking about a technology stack, I know, often we get people come to us and they think they're just going to need one piece of technology and that's it, and it's going to encompass everything. But do you have different pieces in your kind of technology stack that you use?
Yeah, well, I mean, we did want to be paperless and embrace the new tech as much as possible. It's far easier for Nick. So, I really have learned a lot from him actually over the years. But it does allow us to work from home, which I do. I've got an office at home now. We can hook up at the local cafe and have a bit of lunch and chat over our ideas, and also wherever we're drawing inspiration from. So, for example, today we're in one of our lodges. It just happens to be empty before the big busy season, so we thought we would go live from one of our lodges today. So this is the Maltings.
Excellent, lovely. Okay. Okay, is there anything else to go through about technology before we finish for today?
Yeah,
a few other things.
Yeah, I think, being a mom to so many kids as well, we really didn't want to be in a 9-to-5 role. So we've tried to make technology work for us to work smart. So we've done things like integrate Messenger onto our website so that we can be contacted at any time by guests, and it's not complicated for us to respond to somebody. We can do it on our phone or whatever. We also use a VoIP system, so our calls come through the internet, which is great for me because I can literally pick up my phone if somebody's calling, and hopefully I'm not in Tesco at the time, but if I happen to be out and about, then it's I can still deal with things without having to be in my office. Just silly things, I think, like I've got a touchscreen laptop, and that's really helpful for me because I've got a new baby, so I can have him on my knee and still be able to try and work.
Totally. One of the things we want to do is use our time smartly rather than spending hours doing admin. So the likes of the integration between Bookster and Stripe it must save us hours every week in terms of handling deposits and that sort of thing. And obviously the other key thing that we've really wanted to get right is our SEO, or search engine optimization. We pay real close attention to Google Analytics, Google Search Console. We've got Bookster's direct marketing toolkit, which was really helpful for building up the backlinks to our site. We've also taken out a SEMrush subscription. And the one thing that we're constantly kind of adding to our offering, we've started to roll out our touch stay guides for our properties. So the guests can have everything they need at the touch of a button. They can find out how to operate the heating and the Wi-Fi without having to scroll through paper manuals and that sort of thing. And the other real strength I think that we've got as an agency is we do a lot of our content in-house. We do all of our content in-house, in fact, including digital photography, drone videos, Matterport tours. So we've made quite a significant investment in the stuff, in the equipment, but we've also invested in the software. And we use the full Adobe Creative Cloud to give our stuff a professional edge, which we hope makes us stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, certainly. I was on your Instagram page, was it yesterday? And I was, looking at your logos very consistently added through on your imagery. And, it really does show. And I've looked at your Matterport videos as well. And I think they're wonderful, but we'll come back to that in a different session. Okay, I think we'll stop there because we've already gone through so much, which is amazing. So thank you very much for covering this with me today. I've enjoyed this first session. For everybody who's watching this, we'll be back next time to look at the kind of processes and the things you should think about when you're setting up a website. In the meantime, if you'd like to see Igloo's beautiful properties, what's the best way that they should contact you and have a look and see what you're doing?
Yeah, I think go to our website at www.igloo.scot, and you can also contact us through Facebook and Instagram. So we're quite happy to be contacted in any of those ways.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for watching, and we'll be back next time.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Kelly.
Now.
Welcome back to the Bookster Vacation Rental Meetup. We're talking today with Erin and Nick, who are the founders of Igloo Properties. And today we're going to be digging into your website, Nick, which I understand is a major part of your booking strategy. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we knew from early on that the site was key, and it's never something that's finished. The biggest tip for anyone starting out building a site is switching it on is only the start. It's not something you switch on and that's doing its job. You've got to be continuously on it. So relevant content has been a real focus for us, and it's been done on an ongoing basis. And this has not only helped our SEO, but it's helped build our brand on social media, and it's really helped us stand out in a crowded market. And in terms of the booking strategy, our site is where the vast majority of our bookings come in from, and we track all our conversions, so we know exactly how people are finding us. And we're fully booked now, right through until September. So our site is definitely working.
Yeah, it's delightful.
Fantastic news. So you said you're tracking all of your conversions. So how are you doing that tracking?
Yeah, so with the help of Bookster, we hooked up our bookings to Google Analytics. And there's a booking, we can actually drill down and see that person found us on Google. They went to X, Y, and Z page, and then they booked. So you can see the whole customer journey and how that kind of leads to bookings, which has been a great insight to what we've been doing.
It's quite fascinating.
Yes, I spend many hours sitting in Google Analytics. It's very easy just to get lost in there. Okay, so if you had your time over, let's say hypothetically, what would you have done differently?
Yeah, I think the one thing that we would have done, we'd have started building up our content probably a year ago, even before we launched, just because we really sort of want to be kind of ranking for key terms.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of chicken and egg, isn't it? But I mean, we decided on what our USPs would be before we launched our business, but through the experience and guest feedback and actually finding our strengths and what makes us unique in the market, we've developed a few more. So, had we sort of known where we were going to lead I think we could have sort of made more content pre-launching But the lockdown certainly helped us catch up.
Okay, so what did you feel was missing then that you didn't have put together?
Yeah, I'm not so sure that it's in terms of missing, as we've built up quite a lot of content, but we found that it does take time for this to rank on Google. So the work that Erin was talking about that we did during lockdown is now starting to bear fruit, but if we'd done it earlier, we would have gotten a head start. So it's more about starting earlier rather than kind of...
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew what we wanted to rank for. We knew which keywords we were trying to bring up. And the competitor analysis that we do through SEMrush, and it has really focused our minds on how to get there. The Bookster landing pages and the search heroes, they've been absolutely excellent in bringing us up. And I think sometimes you just got to think a little bit outside the box as well. Just give yourself a little bit of room to think of other ways to rank your page and what people are looking for. And that's exactly what we've done. So like I say, the Bookster landing pages have been really, really useful for that.
Okay, lovely. So what would be your advice for somebody who's just starting up now and they're thinking about setting up a website?
I think the biggest thing for people to be prepared to do right from the start is to pay a professional to do the site. Someone that really knows what they're doing and understands how people use the web in 2021. It's not 1998 anymore. People are using mobile devices. It's a very, very different kind of user journey. So it is a significant investment, but we found that results in the bookings converting. It's worth every penny. And my background, I've got a digital media degree, so I probably could have made a fairly decent stab at making a site, but I knew it had to be above my skill set in terms of linking in the booking software and all that sort of thing. So it's really important for the booking engine to be integrated. And it's actually one thing we've come across when we're speaking to maybe property owners that are doing things themselves. They've made a website on a service like Wix or something like that, and there's no booking engine, there's not even any widgets, and they're wondering why they're not getting bookings through. So I think that's been an eye opener from a sort of client point of view, isn't it?
Yeah. So Nick introduced me to SEMrush, which wasn't something I'd ever used before. And we also use the Bookster tools as well for our content marketing strategy. And I've said before, it's not really my natural home. But I do find that it's fundamentally changed the way that I work. So now I'm using the data to think about what the strategy is rather than using guesswork or what I think might be what people want to see. Because I probably, I just find it's a smarter way to work now. And you get more results from it. So, and again, it's tying in with this marketing that we've got. And I think, people might think that, if you're relying on just data, it might be a bit dull, but you can always inject your own writing style into blogs and content that you're doing. So it's just making sure you're covering the right topics. So I think I would definitely advise using these tools wisely, even though they can be really costly. Even if you subscribe to them for a short time and get a good idea of what it is you want to be ranking for, what you want to be talking about. And I think you can't scrimp on how you monitor these things either, because it is time consuming, but it is really, really important. It kind of stops you putting out bad content, basically, and giving people something that they don't want to see. So you should really, really pay attention to the feedback on these things, on these posts and blogs and email campaigns. I mean, it covers everything, doesn't it?
And I think just to add into what you're saying about content, the other thing that people should do is with photos. Either invest in a decent camera themselves and learn how to use it, or, like the website, be prepared to pay a professional, because mobile phone photos don't really cut it. You need a professional look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can definitely see that on your website. Looking at the photos, they look incredible. I mean, the properties look stunning. So that definitely is worth the investment alone. So out of interest, when you're talking about monitoring your data, you're saying it's time consuming. How do you kind of manage that? Do you do it every day, once a week? What would you recommend?
We're probably in about it every day, aren't we?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we look at every day. I mean, we compare ourselves to our competitors. We definitely have a look and see, how things went down, and if we could have improved on it for next time.
Excellent. Okay, that's good to know. Is there anything else that you needed to kind of get your website up and running?
We find the process of launching the site with Bookster, it was brilliant. It was such a collaborative approach between us and the designer Lyle, and everything we needed was taken on board along the way.
Yeah, he was really useful actually. It was, and very, very friendly and easy to work with. So, if we wanted to tweak something, Lyle was, he embraced it actually. It wasn't a case of, going head to head with somebody who knows better. He would embrace the things that we wanted, the changes we wanted. So yeah, really, really good.
I guess for other people, if they're using a professional photographer or employing somebody else to do their Matterport, at that point they would also be speaking to those people. But because you did it yourself, you've got a lot more control of that process as well. You've got your photographs when you want them, and you've got your Matterport when you need it. So that is helpful. I have a quick question about your Matterport before we finish. What made you decide to go down the kind of Matterport route rather than just using photos and a floor plan?
Yeah, the thing with that was the properties we have, they're all stunning, and we wanted guests to not only be able to see them at their best, but the 3D tour element really helps people get a feel for the property, especially if they're coming with family and different generations and that sort of thing. So we chose to invest in our own Matterport because it not only saves us money, but it means we can easily redo the tours if there's any changes. So, for instance, one of our owners, recently he invested in new furniture and redecorated during the lockdown period. So it was easy enough for us to go in, do a new Matterport, and we had it online on the site within 2 days, which is you wouldn't be able to do if you were having to schedule in someone. And
yeah, I think it's a fun part of the booking journey, isn't it? To be able to have a look around and pick your bedroom in advance, and actually really useful that people can see if the property is suitable, if it's accessible, all these different issues that you might have before you book something.
So out of interest, do you also track how many people are looking at your Matterport videos?
yeah, that's part of our tracking, and we do see them going through to Google, and some actually do convert into bookings from directly viewing the Matterport. So that's been an eye opener as well.
Yeah, no, it's good.
That's amazing. Okay, well, let's stop there. And we have covered a lot. Welcome back to Bookster Vacation Rental Meetup. This is our final session with Erin and Nick, who are the founders of Igloo Properties based in Scotland. And today we'll be looking at Erin and Nick's top 3 tips or top 3 recommendations for people who are getting started in the industry. So, first bit of advice, what would you say to someone who is new in the business?
I think the one key thing I would really recommend to anyone starting out is to really keep a close eye on where your bookings are coming from, especially in terms of conversions. As we were saying in the last session, Google Analytics gives you so much info, and it'll help massively with particularly your ad spend, making sure it works, and quickly show what isn't. So we look at every booking to understand the guest journey. So be prepared to spend the time on doing that.
Yep.
Okay, so do you use pay-per-click and just kind of organic traffic and your social media? How do you set yourself up?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of pay-per-click, we use both Google and Facebook to highlight our campaigns, but the majority of our traffic and bookings is now coming organically. So that's people searching on Google and finding us, which is exactly where we want to be. So we're getting to the point where we'll be spending less on sort of adverts, pay-per-click adverts, because our Google organic traffic is growing.
Yeah.
So when you were first setting up, did you put yourself on for kind of pay-per-click to try and drive that traffic with a plan to moving off it gradually? Is that
exactly. There was key search terms we wanted to be on the first page for, and obviously that takes time. So we were complementing our kind of organic efforts with the advertising, which kind of got us a good start.
And actually, I saw you were in quite a few local newspapers as well, which must have helped when you were first setting up.
The response we got when we launched, both locally and the Herald and the Scotsman nationally, kind of picked us up as well.
It was good. We got picked up by quite a few sort of different media outlets that we weren't actually expecting. So that was good. It did work for us.
Because I was looking and I was thinking, what was it in particular that made them pick your story up? And I was wondering whether it's the location that you're in, the fact that you were doing something during a pandemic. Was it because of your kind of dedication towards donating for trees? Do you have a thought on what that could have been?
I think it was probably a combination of all three. It was a good news story when
I think
there wasn't many good news stories coming out about the industry. And I think there was one editor that actually put that back. He's like, it's nice to see some good news for a change.
Excellent. Okay. What would be your second piece of advice?
I think if you're not technically minded, you should really invest in as much training as you can for a project like this, because you kind of constantly learn. Every day is a school day. I mean, even when you have upskilled yourself, there's always something. So go on your webinars, seminars, as many meetups as you can, because even if you just take something away that day, it's something that you're going to go home and implement, a small change. It's all worth it. So yeah, that would be my first piece of advice. And know your limitations as well. If you can't do something, don't sit in it for too long. Get help. And sometimes it's just worth that investment. It can be something costly, but you do need to know what you can and can't do.
So where did you find the training that you've done?
Yes, we found a wealth of training both on YouTube, which is free, and we also subscribe to a website called Udemy, which had some good ones, particularly sort of software and photography ones. So YouTube tends to be better for sort of quick how-tos if you can't remember how to do something, but there's really so much info out there, and we both do a lot of reading when it comes to SEO, and that's something we're really focused on.
Yeah, Google actually does give us the same articles now because we read the same things. Google's actually suggesting the same articles, so half the time we're sharing the same things to each other. And I think I've attended a lot of Digital Boost and Business Gateway courses over the years, and most of them are free or they cost very little. They're really, really worthwhile. And I realise at the moment practically it's impossible to get to one because they're not being run, but they are being run online. So it's the same thing. If you just take the time to do them, they're definitely worthwhile.
Excellent. Okay, and let's look at your third piece of advice.
I would say hindsight's a wonderful thing. It always is. For me, the research was critical in those planning days. Get to know your niche in the market. Who are you? Put your personality into what you do. Don't do something that's not you. Whereas I feel Igloo is really Nick and us speaking to the point where now when we read text, we don't know who wrote it, if it was me or if it was him, because we've found our sort of niche and our groove. Create a marketing plan before you start anything, so you know how to communicate with people and what it is you want to say. That's really critical.
And I think the one sort of final thing I would say is there's lots of stuff that's massively daunting about launching a business, particularly as we did during a pandemic, but be prepared for plans to change, and remember, having to go back to the drawing board isn't always a bad thing. Being flexible is really important, and one thing we've definitely learned is no matter what, have fun and keep laughing.
Yeah. We try to make it all as fun as possible. So every day's it's a work day, but it's also a fun day. If it's not fun, then it's dull and boring. So yeah, have fun with it.
Excellent. Okay, well that sounds like a perfect point to stop. Really useful tips. Thank you so much. I'm sure they're going to be very useful for property managers who are starting out. You have mentioned a number of different websites and companies there, so I will include them in the notes for this event. And thank you so much, Erin and Nick. I really appreciate the time you've taken to join me today and talk through these 3 sessions. We've covered a lot. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we finish for the day?
I'd just like to thank you for inviting us on. It's been really, really good to speak to you today, and hopefully if anybody's got any questions, they can contact us directly if they want to know more about us. We're pretty open to that. So, thank you for that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so the details for Igloo are here. There's the social media pages as well. So Erin and Nick, I think that's us for today. Thank you. And for everybody that's watching, thank you so much for joining us for these 3 sessions. And if you want to get in touch with us, you're more than welcome. You can contact me through Bookster, through our LinkedIn page, or any other of our social media pages too. So I hope you found this useful for your journey into holiday rentals, and we'll be back soon with more advice as well. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks now. Bye.